So I'd like for you to take a look at your device here. This is the alternate route. This is the detour. When and if I-70 opens within the next 12 hours, until then, and subsequently when it closes again, because we will have more storms this weekend, we will have more storms throughout next week. So you should expect more delays and closures. You expect the delays if you're trying to pass yourself off as local traffic to get to Glenwood Springs, to get along Highway 82 southbound to Basalt or Carbondale this weekend. Delays. Pack your patience. And, of course, packing that patience is going to be critical as you take 13, Colorado 13 north, to Colorado 40 east, to Colorado 9 south, to Silverthorne. This is your detour. This is the route you have to take. Now, I'm hearing some rumors that westbound traffic may open Friday afternoons. That's something we'll watch, and then hopefully eastbound traffic will reopen soon. But a lot of transportation issues right now getting jammed up. So thought I'd share this route with you. We've been talking about it. I like to dip out of Steamboat Springs on 131 South. That takes me through McCoy, Bond, Oak Creek, State Bridge, and puts me back on the interstate right at Wolcott. Some of you pronounce it Wolcott. Let's take a look at America's Mattress Live Tower Cam. You know, we're seeing some of these clouds building up again. We had a little bit of a delay today. They happened a little bit after the noon hour, but primarily the midday is when these are going to pop up over the mountains, the mesas, and the plateaus. We already have, at the 4 o'clock hour on July 23rd, we already have some storms, some areas of concern, primarily over Gunnison. I'll show you that on radar in a moment. But as far as temperatures go, right where we should be. This is about the average for mid and late July. Low 90s, mid 90s. This is right where we should be. It's not official at this hour what our high temperature is. We usually hit that during the 18Z, during the 6 o'clock hour when that gets released, but we probably will add a degree or two, not too much heat. As far as winds go, we're breezy, 10 to 20 miles per hour. We'll keep 10 to 20 in the forecast through the weekend. Top wind gusts, well, these have not been realized yet because I expect a lot of more storm coverage to occur during the early evening and during the late evening hours. So we're expecting to see some storms moving through. Montrose, I have a big concern that we're going to get not only some rain showers, but probably some flood advisories. So some active urban flooding issues this evening. So just remind the kiddos, if they're out playing in the yard or stomping through puddles, have them stay away from the swift-moving storm drains and the storm runoff because that'll sweep them off their feet and they can get road rash, they can hurt themselves, least of which it could be a serious situation. But just remind your kids not to play in the storm runoff. Flood watches, that's going to be the norm for the next 7 to 10 days. Flood advisories, which is an active flooding situation, that's neon green. Flood warnings, which is also an active situation or imminent situation with floodwaters, that's in the maroon reds. Again, we're going to be watching Grizzly Creek, the Grizz is what we're calling it, because of that closure situation along I-70 in the canyon. And when I refer to the canyon, I specifically mean Glenwood Canyon. So we do anticipate some openings soon. Not both traffics, not both westbound, eastbound, but we'll see how it plays out. Playing out, that's the order of business. As we go through Saturday and go through Sunday, we still have significant rain chances, especially for the San Juans and especially for the Divide region. So mountain zones, if you're going to be heading to the backcountry or the high country this weekend, just know it's going to be stormy throughout the course of the weekend. And the lower elevations, Montrose, Delta, Grand Junction, will still maintain daily shots of storms, especially in the late afternoon and through the evening hours. Now, getting into next week, we see a lot more storm coverage and some significant upgrades, some significant opportunities leading us into the midweek period. So, again, we're not done. Quick look at radar at the 4 o'clock hour, Western Slope radar. A lot of activity south of Silverthorne, so along the divide, the mountain zones, and just outside of Gunnison, east of Gunnison. That's where I've been watching this storm concern. This is a slow-moving storm, about 15 miles per hour, moving eastbound. I should say moving westbound, and it's located east of Gunnison, about 20 miles. So this is going to impact the Gunnison Valley. And then I look further west into the Uncompahgre Valley for more of those storms to develop. Right now, Grand Valley, rather quiet. I don't think that's going to remain the same. 6 hours from now, I think we're going to get stormy. Same situation for the Uncompahgre. Right now, it's calm. There's not much going on except for clouds building up. That's not going to be the same thing once the sun goes down. We're going to get a little bit more active this evening. That's how I feel, and that's what we're watching. Getting into temperatures for Saturday, we may trim them back a little bit because I feel like we're going to have overnight storms lingering later, and we'll have overcast, mostly cloudy conditions to start Saturday. So this is going to delay the heating of the day, and it may postpone storm development until later in the afternoon, later in the evening hours. But we're still going to have storm coverage. Even though we have a partly cloudy sky for Grand Junction, we still maintain slight chance of showers on those days, Saturday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and all through next week. The good news is we're really dropping our temperatures out of the upper 90s, which is slightly hotter than the average. We're dropping them to the average and slightly below the average. So there's a little bit of comfort there, but at the risk and cost of what? Significant storms that produce heavy downpours, lightning strikes, and gusty winds, and the threat for flooding exists? I don't know. And it's not just the I-70 corridor in Glenwood Canyon, folks. It's, any low water crossing that you experience in your travels in the backcountry or in the rural zones or in the unpopulated areas. Any low water crossing could fill up and move water. Dry canyons, I should say slot canyons and dry washes, those can fill up too. So just be mindful of the storms, be weather aware, look up and around, and even though there's no storms around you, if you're in any of those three areas that I mentioned, low water crossings, slot canyons, dry washes, those can deliver water quickly with no storms around because they're coming from miles away.